From the Caribbean News Desk, the morning edition. Good morning. I'm Denis Chabrol.
And I'm Kendol Morgan with the latest from across the Caribbean.
The Vincentian Parliament has approved new categories of CARICOM skilled nationals who may move to and work in the country. The Parliament yesterday extended a right to artisans, domestic and agricultural workers, and private security guards. The move comes as CARICOM countries have gone almost a year and a half past the March 2023 deadline they set for a full free movement of all CARICOM nationals across the community. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves told the Parliament the sticking point among the countries continues to be what rights should be granted to the family of the person moving to another CARICOM country.
What are these rights to which you are entitled? Are you entitled to all the rights, for instance, in the area of health, from primary health care to secondary to tertiary, as citizens of the country? Are you entitled to the educational provisions as children in the host countries, from primary to secondary to post-secondary? And there's a big debate over the extent of the contingent rights. The position of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we will go to the furthest extent that the community market, political market can bear.
A fit-for-purpose justice system. That's the call from Belize Prime Minister John Brasinio as the country's judges, magistrates, prosecutors, defense lawyers and other legal practitioners meet this week to advance the case for criminal justice reform.
I'm sure that during the discussions with all will reaffirm that a criminal justice system must be firm but fair in holding offenders to account for the wrongs that they have committed against their fellow citizens. The victims, their loved ones, and society must feel and be able to show that the state is serious about punishing the wrong that was committed. In other words, we must have a criminal justice system that is fit for purpose with adequate laws and systems in place.
The Belize Criminal Justice Reform Conference is seeking to give practical expression to recommendations developed by an arm of the CCJ, its Academy of Law. Acting CCJ President Justice Winston Anderson told the gathering that justice reform is important to dealing with the region's development challenges.
In general, our Caribbean societies face a crisis in criminal justice. High crime rates, low detection rates, overcrowded remand centers and prisons, inadequate rehabilitative services, social, psychological, and economic dislocation of victims of crime. Criminal justice reform is integral to turning this picture around and in the direction of sustainable development.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says he's convinced his decision to meet directly with warring youth gangs is the right one, especially as they've expressed a desire to call a truce. Prime Minister Brown met on Monday evening with the Grace Farm Killers Gang, following an earlier meeting last Thursday with its rival Tudrili Gang. He says the gangs, made up primarily of teenagers, made chilling revelations of near-death experiences and showed the scars from the many gruesome injuries received from the gang warfare. The Prime Minister says the rival gang members have agreed to a truce meeting on Thursday, and his administration plans to hold follow-up meetings and develop initiatives to support their development and reform.
Premier of the British Virgin Islands, Dr. Natalia Wheatley, yesterday escaped debate on a no-confidence motion. Opposition leader Ronnie Skelton sponsored the no-confidence motion because of the Premier's multi-million-dollar error in the calculation of salaries in this year's budget, his frequent travels, and the rising crime in the territory. The House Speaker, Corinne George Massicote, said the no-confidence motion against the Premier was not properly placed because it was sent to the Speaker instead of the Clerk.
I am in agreement that the standing order, in particular 23, was not adhered to. And I do not believe anyone questioned whether or not I had such a discretion to allow the matter to still proceed, given that the proper procedure was not followed. So it is my ruling that Standing Order 23 was not adhered to, and as such, the motion was not properly placed on the order paper.
As the new school year begins in St. Kitts and Nevis, Education Minister Dr. Geoffrey Handley has warned that teachers will strictly enforce a hair guidelines policy. He says the policy will ensure students maintain clean, neat hair with no distracting hairstyles.
Extreme hairstyles that may distract from the learning environment will not be allowed. To our male students, your hair must be combed and kept neat and tidy. Your hair must not obstruct the normal view of others. To our female students, your extensions for safety purposes should be shoulder length. To be clear, the hair guidelines are a privilege, one that students can lose if they do not abide by the rules.
This has been the morning edition from the Caribbean News Desk. You may contact us by phone or WhatsApp on +592 700 9293. Thanks for listening.